Julia Churchill tonight. But before I do, and she introduces herself and tells us all her wisdom about children's publishing, just a couple of pieces of admin, and that's to say welcome to the new members who I think I'm slightly picking out about. And welcome to an old friend and writer who hasn't been for a long time, Paul Gardner in the corner there. This Thursday, a really exciting thing for members is that there's a writer's surgery. We do this surgery over the phone, and this week it's Kirsty doing it. Is it Thursday?
Thursday, 1 o'clock.
Thursday at 1 o'clock. If you haven't signed up for that, then let Kirsty know that you want to. Last time we dealt with everything from contracts through to, well, when somebody buy my book, through to getting published if not in your home country, stuff like that. So it was really good. And the funny thing about those is that even if you get a big crowd, usually you just get the same 4 people talking. So we urge you to, if you're too shy to talk on the day, to email any questions you have in advance, and Kirsty can navigate through those as well. It's a really nice thing, honest. It's not, you just call in, no one can see your face, you can pretend that you're someone else that you want.
Put on a voice.
It's a really, really nice thing, and everyone who does it goes, oh my God, that was really good, I must do that again. It's a bit like, so, any other news? Or
I think that's
nothing else to report? No, the final event of the year is next, the 20...
it's on the side.
20-something of July.
Yeah.
And, hi. And we're going to do it outside. We're probably going to do it at the Embankment Cafe, but we'll keep you posted. And we hope the weather will be good, but we're really looking forward to doing that outside, maybe with a bit of booze or something to get people a bit excited before we head up for August. So that's that. Julia, it's so exciting to have you. You cover children's, YA, and then another category that I've just become aware of, which is the 9 to 12-year-old group, which is exciting. You've got some fabulous examples of the books you've commissioned here, so I'm going to turn it over to you. Thank you, Julie, for coming.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Right, I'm going to talk very fast for about 40 minutes. So if anyone's got a paper bag or anything, I might need it. So I'm going to talk about the 6 things. So the 6 things that I look for in a standout submission. But I'll start with a bit of background about myself. I started work at the Darley Anderson Agency in 2002. I don't know if any of you know the Darley Anderson Agency, perhaps submitted to. It's one of the bigger independent agencies in London, and it specialises in commercial adult fiction. So we represented Lee Child, Martina Cole, John Connolly, Leslie Pierce, Carol Matthews. Massive #1 international bestsellers. And we didn't do, when I started in 2002 as Darley's at Anderson's PA, we didn't do any children's books. And then in 2004, this manuscript dropped on the pile, like many others, and it was so beautiful. It was crystalline, it was perfect, it made everybody cry. And it was a children's book, and we didn't know anything about children's books. We knew nothing, actually. We took this author on because talent like that doesn't come along very often. So I got a copy of the Writers and Artists Yearbook, and I went through it, and I found the names of all the publishing directors in children's publishers in the UK, big publishers, and Darley sent it out, and it was a big auction. And that author is Cathy Cassidy, and she's now one of the biggest writers for books for 9 to 12-year-old girls about friends and families and feelings. She's an absolutely beautiful writer. And actually, in I think the 25-year history of Darley Anderson's, there's 2 books that came in ready to be sold, just dropped on the mat, ready to go out the next day. And Cathy was one of them. And the other one was Martina Cole, who's the #1 adult, most years, not this year, no, the #1 adult hardback fiction. Actually, she still might be. It's 50 Shades of Paperback. But anyway, so she's kind of the #1 hardback writer in the country, adult fiction most years. And then, so we had our adult fiction, then we had Cathy Cassidy. And I think it was around about 2005, on the basis that I had a niece that I was very close to. I like my niece. And Darley said to me, well, you've got a niece, you really like children, so so why don't you build up the children's book side of the business? So that's basically what I did. And it was for that reason. But, I mean, I loved it, built the agency, became a prestigious list. And then in 2009, I left the Darley Anderson agency for the Greenhouse. And the Greenhouse is exclusively children's books and young adults. And it was set up in 2008 by Sarah Davies, who was a managing director of Macmillan Children's Books. She started in 2008 in the US, flew over to Washington, she married an American, set up her business in Washington, had a blinding year in 2008 from a standing start. So in the beginning of 2009, was looking for a UK agent specialised on the UK market so that she could focus on the US market. And how we operate is that we sell each other's authors' work in our own territory. So I might have a big debut or a big author in the UK. Sarah Davis, my boss, will sell it in the US. She might have a great author in the US, and if it works for my market, I'll sell it in the UK. So essentially it means that our authors, for the right sort of book, for the international book, for a book which works in both English language markets, there is an agent on the ground in both territories. And I think that's quite an unusual way that we're set up, in that we speak constantly, and email constantly, and are very much in tune with each other's markets. But I take care of mine, she takes care of hers. So that is my background. It's good about Greenhouse. And I'll start by talking about what an agent looks for. And we'll do questions. I'll rattle through. It's going to be really fast. I don't know if it's probably about 50 minutes here. I'm going to do it in 15. I'm not going to do it in 15, I'm going to do it in 40. And then I think we have a break, and then we have questions afterwards. So if anything comes up, just scribble it down. So what's an agent looking for? Well, it's part of an agent's job to be aware of prevailing trends. We look at the state of the market, we look at the bestseller list, we look at publishers' hunger for certain types of books, and we even look at the individual tastes of certain editors, because I might know that this particular editor is very keen on a gritty contemporary thriller novel, or something funny for younger readers. And it's a very funny business, because it's a business of taste. The second author I took on at Darley Anderson's, I think she'd sent her book to, I think I was the 40th agent she'd sent to. She sent to 39 agents, and also she worked in the children's book business. She was an editor or an assistant editor. So she was sending to the right people. And I can remember getting this submission. She's called Michelle Harrison, and she wrote 13 Treasures, and it won the Waterstones Children's Book Prize. And she's carved out a really great international career now, and they're great books, the 13 Treasures trilogy. And she's just published a ghost novel for a slightly older readership. And I can remember reading that. I can remember reading her. She started with a prologue, actually. And prologues, I think if you have a prologue, it needs to do some really heavy lifting. It kind of has to be crucial. And it was brilliantly written. It was a scene that was pulled out of the middle of the book in which two characters are chasing through a tunnel. You don't really know who they are, where they're going. And it was kind of obviously exciting, but it wasn't, there wasn't a setup, there wasn't anything, it was a chase. There isn't much of an engine to a chase, it's just people running. It can be brilliantly written, it can have a lot of energy, but it's not putting its hooks in you necessarily. And it was a long one as well, I think it was about 10 pages, and I got to chapter 1, and there was this incredible scene, which is this 13-year-old girl who was in the back of the car, and she was being driven somewhere she really didn't want to go by her mum. So her dog had its head on her lap. And you realise that she could see a fairies coming out of its collar, horrible fairies. She could see them splatting against the windscreen and falling out of the trees. And everywhere she was, she could see these horrible little fairies. And it was incredible. It was beautifully written, an incredible scene, and it did get its claws into you. And 39 agents, probably the right agents as well, she's targeting the right people, or people very good at their job, turned it down, and it was kind of, to me, clearly just an absolute winner, and it's proved to be. And actually that's the truth of pretty much any book I've ever sold, pretty much any book I've probably ever bought, that it kind of comes back to this idea that books are wildly subjective. Hi. Another example of how crazy this business is, quite a fun one. I was selling a pirate adventure. It was kind of Pirate's Adventure for 9 to 12-year-olds. And it was roundabout, it was, at the time, it was one of those no-brainer books. It was a book, I was so confident, I was so cocky, I just thought, this is going to be easy. Everyone's talking, everyone's saying they want Eva Ibbotson style writing, they want new Alice in Wonderland, they want fun, adventure, fantasy for 9 to 12, and this was exactly that. It was exactly that, it was hilarious. And it was the right time as well for that type of pirate book. I thought, God, this is just like, send it out and let it happen. Let them all fight amongst themselves. And this business, publishing, is a very diplomatic business, actually. So I might send a book out, and if an editor doesn't think it's great, they probably won't tell me that they don't think it's great, because firstly, I've spent a long time, I'm close to the author, I've spent a long time on the book, quite possibly, working on it with the author. Thirdly, editors want to maintain their relationships with agents, because agents are, in many cases, where the talent comes from. Talent comes through agents and it goes to publishers. So an editor wants to make sure that relationship's safe, because they don't want an agent to start thinking, well, obviously this editor doesn't connect with the sorts of books that I like, so I'm going to send it to the person in the cubicle next to them. You want to safeguard your relationships. And because of that, it's very diplomatic. So you'll get a rejection that's kind of, this is what's great about it, this is what I don't like, and then again, you have a sign off, and this is, thanks, how wonderful it is. Kind of. They're very, very soft, many rejections that you get. And I was getting brutal rejections for this book, actually. And left, right, and centre. In the same minute that I got a rejection from Harper, which was actually a quite systematic 9-point breakdown of why kids would just really not enjoy this book, which was I was annoyed. In the same minute, I got an email from Harper, I got an email from Scholastic saying, we can't get you on the phone. Where are you? Everyone here has read it, we love it. Whatever you do, don't leave the house. Don't leave the flat, and don't leave the office until 5:30 tonight. So I thought, okay, and that's a signal. It's a signal, it means a box. And a box is what publishers do when they really, really, really want a book. Sometimes, not all the time, it's a little bit frivolous. But anyway, at 5:30, this box arrived from a courier, and it was, bearing in mind, everyone hated it. We were getting these turndowns, nobody wanted it. So at 5:30, I got this box, which was a treasure chest, and it was wrapped in sort of weathered manila paper, and it had all these old-fashioned stamps, because this book had quite a lot of travel in it. And it was